Welcome back. So if you're using a ResMed CPAP machine, you already know the nightly drill. The setup, the daily cleaning, that constant hunt for distilled water. Let's be honest, it kind of feels like a part-time job just to get a good night's sleep. I know you've probably found yourself staring at that water chamber late at night, totally exhausted, wondering, do I really need to fill this thing up? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to unpack exactly that. We're breaking down the mechanics, the physical risks, the hidden benefits, and some expert tips on running your ResMed CPAP entirely without water.
Right off the bat, let's answer the big question. Can you actually use a ResMed CPAP without water? The answer is an absolute resounding yes. Mechanically speaking, your machine is going to be perfectly fine. But, and this is a massive but that we really need to talk about, while your machine won't mind running dry at all, we've got to explore how your body and your respiratory system are going to react to that sudden change in climate.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for balancing convenience with comfort. First, we'll look at if you can run it dry. Second, the perks of a dry setup. Third, the dry air catch. Fourth, when moisture is absolutely essential. And finally, number 5, how to go waterless properly.
Section 1. Can you run it dry? Think about the difference in how this actually feels. When you use water, you're breathing in warmed, moist air. It's got a slightly steamy feeling to it. Now, some people absolutely love that soothing warmth, while others, they find it almost suffocating. On the flip side, without water, you're getting cool, dry air. Initially, this can feel incredibly refreshing, kind of like a crisp evening breeze. But here's the thing, over an 8-hour sleep cycle, that continuous blast of unhumidified, dry air can become remarkably harsh on your respiratory system. There's a brilliant quote from sleep experts that hits the nail on the head. The water chamber is only there to add moisture, not to create the therapy. I really want to reassure you here. Your ResMed machine is designed to deliver continuous airway pressure. That pressure, that's the actual therapy keeping your airway open. The water, it's literally just a secondary feature. So skipping the water is 100% physically safe for the machine's primary job. Section 2. Perks of a dry setup. Let's talk about the real-world wins of going waterless, because they are pretty huge. First up, you get a much simpler setup, which is a total game changer for travel. No more lugging around heavy plastic jugs of distilled water or, panicking when your hotel doesn't sell any. Next, you face way fewer humidity-related issues. Have you ever experienced rainout? That's when warm condensation builds up in the tube and literally drips cold water onto your face in the middle of the night. Yeah, going dry eliminates that completely. And finally, an empty chamber just means fewer daily cleaning steps. It's one less annoying part to wash, rinse, and dry every single morning. Section 3. The dry air catch. Now, we have to talk about the downside. 40%. Clinical data and user analysis show that about 40% of all CPAP users report experiencing dry mouth. That is a massive chunk of people. And this statistic is strongly linked directly to the risks of low humidity and dry sleeping environments. When you remove the water, you are stepping right into that high-risk zone. When you're running cool, unhumidified air continuously through your airways, the side effects are deeply physical. We're talking about waking up with severely dry nasal passages and this raw, scratchy throat. In dry climates, that continuous air can actually crack the delicate mucosal lining inside your nose, which leads to painful morning nosebleeds. This irritation then forces you to breathe through your mouth more, which just completely dries out your oral tissues. And here's the real danger. All of this severely reduces your therapy comfort and long-term adherence. If your brain starts associating your CPAP mask with pain and a raw throat, you're subconsciously just going to stop wearing it. Section 4. When moisture is essential. Now, what's really interesting is how specific environments and habits trigger very specific, painful symptoms if you run dry. For example, if it's winter, or you're in a desert climate, or you run the AC on full blast, going waterless will rapidly lead to frequent nosebleeds and that cracked nasal lining we talked about. Or, let's say you use a full face mask, or you're a known mouth breather. Skipping water exponentially increases the volume of dry air hitting your soft tissues. The result? Severe dry mouth and difficulty swallowing. And finally, if you already have pre-existing sinus issues, going waterless is just going to aggressively trigger intense nasal congestion and irritation. But I do want to reassure you, the ultimate goal here isn't to force humidity. It's to use it when your body actually signals that the air is too dry. Think of moisture as simply a tool designed to help you stick with your therapy. It is absolutely not a medical mandate. If your body doesn't actually need it and you feel great without it, you are well within your rights to just skip it. Section 5. How to go waterless properly. Okay, so if you decide to ditch the water tonight, you absolutely must follow these steps. Step 1. Set your humidity level to 0 in your machine settings. Do not, I repeat, do not just leave the tank empty. If you leave the tank dry but leave the humidity setting on, the machine's heater plate is going to keep trying to heat non-existent water, and that can wear out the components really fast. Step 2. Empty or completely remove the tank. Step 3. Adjust your room temperature to a moderate 20 to 22 degrees Celsius, and whatever you do, avoid blasting a cold fan or AC directly at your face. And step 4, hydrate well before bed to give your body a head start against that dry air.
But hey, what if you're looking for a middle ground? What if you hate that suffocating wet feeling, but you physically just can't handle the harshness of a totally dry setup? Well, try these compromises. First, just try a lower humidity setting. If you usually sit at a level 4, bump it down to a 2 or a 3. You'll cut the steamy feeling, but keep just enough moisture to protect your throat. Second, use a heated tube. This keeps the air warm enough to stop water from condensing and dripping on your face, which lets you use modest humidity safely. Finally, try a chin strap, or maybe tweak your mask fit. Stopping your mouth from falling open is often the absolute fastest way to cure dry mouth, without even changing your water habits at all.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really think about. Are you actually listening to your body's signals? Your CPAP therapy is supposed to help you rest. It shouldn't act as a nightly endurance test for your throat and sinuses. Remember, the machine works for you, not the other way around. So don't be afraid to experiment, tweak those settings safely, and find that exact perfect balance of convenience and physical comfort that gives you the best night's sleep. Thanks for joining me today. Stay focused, stay curious, and I will catch you in the next one.